Animal Crossing is a game with over 450 villagers, talking animals that inhabit your island, give you gifts, interact with the world, and generally keep you company. While there is very little mechanical difference between them all, besides different personalities offering different selections of DIY recipes or reactions, clear favourites have emerged. Community darlings like Raymond, Marshall, Judy have won people's hearts with cute designs and unique features. And where there's the desirable, we conversely have the undesirable. And few are more undesirable than BAROLD the bear. No other character features in as many bottom 10 lists. None provoke such a strong reaction of distaste. None look as much like Team Liquid Smash Bros player Dabuz. For this video we'll be looking at two distinct topics. Firstly, what aspects of this character should we appreciate beyond his surface level appearance? He must have some redeeming qualities after all. Secondly, and perhaps more importantly, we'll be analysing what I believe to be the true reason BAROLD is shunned more than any other character in the game, and this too goes far beyond his mere appearance into unstitching the very fabric of Animal Crossing, and perhaps the psychology of the player. This is the truth behind Animal Crossing's least popular villager. This is the truth about BAROLD. It's hard not to judge villagers based on appearance. While there are over 450, they're split into a total of 8 personality types. This means one villager with a particular personality will behave pretty much identically to every other villager with that type. Although New Horizons is weighted towards giving you villagers with different personality types to the ones already on your island, a maximum of 10 villagers and a total of 8 types means even casual players will likely notice the similarities between characters, particularly if they start visiting other islands online or once villagers start moving in or out. BAROLD has the lazy or Boku personality, which means from a mechanical perspective he is competing with every other lazy villager in New Horizons, of which there are 74. And why choose BAROLD when Zucker, one of the 3 octopus villagers designed like a takoyaki ball, is available? Or Bo, a much cuter deer villager? Or Bob the cat, a fan favourite? Or Lucky with a unique bandage design? Or Stitches or Hopkins? You get the idea. He's just not as cute as many alternatives. And similarly, as one of 15 bear cub villagers, his overall shape is hardly unique, and put up against Judy's uniquely sparkling eyes or Marty's adorable acorn hat, it's difficult to win out. It's not looking good for BAROLD based on this competition, and yet I do believe he has redeeming qualities. Firstly, any conventionally ugly villager I believe has some inherent appeal in the same way that certain breeds of animal in the real world are so ugly that they're cute. Or simply because in a game about cute animals, it's funny to have decidedly not cute ones for the sake of contrast. After all, cute wouldn't be cute without the antithesis to that, right? But what of BAROLD specifically? Firstly, his shirt. By default, he has a rather garish tiger print stretched over his chubby little body, no doubt a contributing factor to his ugliness, but considering his lazy, carefree personality, what could be more ironically appropriate than the guise of a fast, powerful apex predator? BAROLD perhaps demonstrates a surprising self-awareness with this, an in-joke to those who get to know him. It's the Animal Crossing equivalent of putting a Nürburgring sticker on the back of your Nissan Cube. We look also at another of BAROLD's unique features, his house. Unassuming on the outside, inside has a strong tech-heavy theme. It's a pretty cool environment, complete with the 100,000 bell server, so despite his appearance, he's got some decent material wealth. He also demonstrates a much greater ability than other animals to own actual useful, necessary items. A bed, a phone, a laptop. He's more prepared to actually live here than the multitudes who opt for scaffolding, sushi stands, and space rockets. Most importantly though, a shower. You might think BAROLD to look like a smelly neckbeard, but this actually demonstrates a better regard for personal hygiene than many of the animals. And let's face it, his little beard is surprisingly well kept. But of course we can't forget Barold's face. His cub body is the only type in Animal Crossing based on a baby animal, so his full beard presents a unique dichotomy of infant and adult. This alone has some comedy appeal, but his beard combined with the glasses gives an undoubtedly nerdy look, and it's actually something few villagers possess. There aren't many bearded villagers, and the ones who are often look more gruff and grizzled than the soft and cuddly Barold. Combined with his furnishing, I don't think there's any other villager as likely to spend his time gaming, watching anime, or just chilling out online as Barold. And if you're watching this video, you probably like doing at least one of those things too. So we may feel a unique sense of camaraderie with Barold. Maybe he understands us the player, rather than us the Animal Crossing avatar, a little better than the others. I believe this gives us reason to accept Barold, and perhaps even love him. We look past the apparent ugliness into his demeanour and the way he chooses to present himself and his home. He is a little more real, a little more relatable than his sparkly-eyed brethren. And yet it is exactly this presentation that perhaps on a subconscious level is the key to why Barold provokes the knee-jerk reaction that he does in so many players. That undescribable feeling of being creeped out by him in a way no other villagers, except Pietro, who's just messed up, seem to do. Is Barold a little too real? Let us begin. Animal Crossing is a game of fantasy, of escapism, and a particularly relevant form of escapism given that I and many others currently have a limited ability to leave their real-world homes. It stands to reason, therefore, that in a game where we pick and choose everything as a perfect division, from the exciting and the fantastical furniture choices, all the way to the very shape of our environment through terraforming, it's the idealised that wins out. And it's the idealised that appeals to us most precisely because it is not reality and because we have the choice. The perfectly presented gentlemanly cat with heterochromia and the impossibly cute cotton candy bear are how we wish ourselves and our neighbours to be should we have the choice. But what do we see when we put the Nintendo Switch to sleep mode? Reflected in the black screen, we see the real, the imperfect, things as they actually are, not as we wish them to be. We see Barold. The bear nobody wished for, and yet you may find him on your island in equal likelihood to anyone else. It is one of the few areas of the game in which the player does not have perfect control, and his presence shatters the illusion that everything in Animal Crossing is up to us. He brings us back to the depressing reality where our fate often feels decided and we're merely along for the ride. Or maybe that ugliness we perceive in Barold reveals something ugly we perceive in ourselves. Many of the other ugly villagers in Animal Crossing have a real comically ridiculous feature, like a huge monobrow or being a giant purple gorilla. Barold doesn't. Not really. Okay, sure, he's got big red lips like he's been licking Chupa Chups all afternoon, but his other features are pretty grounded in reality. Glasses, 5 o'clock shadow, slightly chubby body. His unconventional looks are not derived from fantasy, but reality, and again breaks immersion by reminding the player of people, maybe even the player themselves, rather than animals. Barold is only one step away from somebody's me avatar showing up in your game. It's just weird. Let us look a level further. We call back to the shirt and his living environment. Those things I believe could redeem him. His thin veil of presenting himself as a tiger. Is this not too how the player behaves? Are Animal Crossing avatars the facade over our true selves? Just as Barold presents the image of the powerful tiger masking the lazy bear, we are the adorable, perfectly outfitted, all-powerful resident representative masking, well, just a regular person. We visit the islands of others knowing full well behind each islander and their perfectly crafted town is just a regular flawed human like us. Like Barold. His room then too is a reflection of our reality, something that is all too familiar now, a single environment with the essentials we need to live. He may have some expensive gear, but it's impossible to deny the utilitarian finish. Again, the veil of Animal Crossing fantasy is shattered and lifted. Barold the bear lives, for the most part, as we do as players. Take a closer look. Surveillance, telephone, metal bunk bed, shower cubicle in the same room. He may have some luxuries, but Barold's room is disturbingly like a prison. At a time when many people feel trapped, Barold only reminds us of this, because when in his house he too is in a painfully similar state. Add in references to surveillance, the all-seeing eye of technology that monitors everything we do, and algorithms that determine what we like, the algorithms that determine the success or failure of this video. The more you look, the more Barold's room presents not a nightmare scenario, but a disturbingly real one. These factors collectively attack the psyche of the player and break our immersion. This may not even occur on a conscious level, but the effect is there all the same. And like the smell of something bad makes us instinctively retch, the effect of Barold's presence is a similarly powerful rejection. The sooner we get rid of it and forget about it, the sooner we can go back to Fantasyland. And that is why I believe Barold's story is a tragic one, why he is destined to take the fall as Animal Crossing's least desirable villager. But nonetheless, I implore you to reconsider, embrace imperfection, love those perceived flaws, maybe even acknowledge reality within the saccharine world of Animal Crossing, and then you might just understand Barold's unique appeal. You may accept him for who he is, a chubby little nerd bear. And that is my story of Barold, but now it's over to you. Let me know in the comments what you think about this chubby little bear. And if you enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button, and I may make more Animal Crossing videos in the future. And if you never want to hear anything about Barold again, then I guess that's what the dislike button is for. Thank you so much for watching, maybe we'll see you next time.